I will, because both restaurants are closed, I will ask from the lobby.
Yeah.
So it might take a while, but...
Yeah, well, it's fine. Thank you.
I'll be here.
I'll just break the ice and take your autograph because I'm such a fan of filmmakers still. Oh yeah, here. Please.
Yeah.
Maybe on the photograph.
Yeah.
I saw it yesterday. I saw it at home in Kokkola.
Yeah.
I'm from the central Ostrobothnia region on the coast.
Okay.
There, and that's for my newspaper. And do you mind if I record it?
No problem.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this saw too also. I already saw it on a small screen.
Yeah.
So I'm lucky that I got a press ticket for tonight because it's sold out.
Yeah.
So congratulations.
Yeah.
And of course, congratulations for the Nordic Council competition. That's very fine to get your film there. Because last year I saw a very good Icelandic film, Rendir. Is it Sparrows?
Yeah.
Yes,
Sparrows.
I don't know how it is in...
Frestir.
Frestir. Okay, we don't have that letter. Okay, and I hope it would win. And now that I saw that, okay, whom I would interview, I thought I'd take an Icelandic filmmaker, and then I saw the film and I thought, I was so lucky because it's the favorite film that I have seen. I've seen 10 films, and this is my favorite.
Okay, that's very
I
nice
hope
to
you
hear.
will. I hope
Thank
you
you
will
very
win. Okay. Let's start by Heartstone.
Yeah.
Is it the necklace that is going around in the film, or is there some other meaning with that?
No, the name was just something that I found, and and I liked, and
Okay.
yeah. So it didn't have any specific meaning.
Okay. How do you pronounce it in
Heartstone.
Heartstone?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I thought it was a good description of the two elements that are strong in the film.
Yes.
It is kind of hardness and the warmth.
Yeah.
So so I thought it was nice.
Yes. Wonderful.
Yeah.
And it translates very well.
Yeah.
Let's just hope that we get it to Finland because the Sparrows it didn't get published in Finland, not on DVD also. And I'm sure that everybody who sees it will love it. So it's a very big audience film. I hope so that we'll get it. Okay. So like in Sparrows, the Heartstone. I'm sure it will be overwhelming to see it on the big screen, also because the nature of Iceland is so beautiful. Is it impossible to film an ugly film in Iceland? How did you approach the places and the atmosphere of it?
I mean, one of the things you have to make sure when you're shooting in Iceland in the nature is not to get blindsided by the nature. Yeah, and so because we were shooting in one of the most beautiful locations, I think, in that town. So we just made a rule of thumb is that we don't have a wide shot unless if it has something to do with the scene or with the emotions that the characters are going through.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was maybe mostly the atmosphere or one kind of a character in the film.
Yeah. But the nature in Icelandic film often becomes part of, it always becomes a character.
Yeah.
And that's because the nature is such a dominating factor in your life there, and especially as a kid growing up, you had this beautiful nature, but also really kind of
rough.
Rough and dangerous. So you knew that if you get lost there, you can die.
Yeah.
Basically.
I don't remember what was the thing that they were climbing and catching there.
Bird eggs, like blackbird eggs.
Ah, the eggs.
Yeah.
Yes, sure. Okay. Okay. How was your road to making your first film and feature? What got you interested in film in the first place, and did you go to film school?
Yeah. Now I started in art school as like a conceptual art, and I was always interested in making films, but I thought the art school would be a nice kind of ground for that. Yeah. And then I heard these stories about directors who were developing a project, but then the protests were taken away from them, and another draft was put on. And then I found out, okay, you have to kind of own your script, and then I started writing. And Heartstone is actually the first script I wrote.
Okay. So you didn't make short films before?
Not before I wrote the script for Heartstone. Yeah. And then I really liked it, and then I found out that no one would give me money to make it. So then I started doing short films to kind of, to prove that I could do Heartstone. Yeah.
So the road was for many years until you made the...
Yeah, many years. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. A broad question. What is the secret of a small country like Iceland? There's so much great things coming especially in art, music and films. Is it that you have to be creative because there's nothing else to do?
I think that's part of it. I think part of it is that, there's not that much to do. So, and then the winters are long and dark, so you have to occupy yourself. And another part of it is that we don't have a big market, so we don't expect to make much money out of what we do. Okay. Like commercial-wise. Yeah. So then it's not really. You can almost make a similar amount of money from doing an artist film and a commercial film. It's like it's not that big of a difference. So you might as well do it. And also there's something about the authorship in Iceland that we have a lot of literature authors, and that's very respected. Like being an artist is respected in the country.
It's like an artistic community.
Yeah.
A bit small, like Finland, but on an island.
But and maybe it helps as well that it's not so competitive in a way that we do support each other. Okay. Yeah, so the directors are giving each other feedbacks, and we don't feel like that we have to compete over the market.
Everybody knows each other, and
So I think that helps as well.
Yeah. Okay. You wrote the screenplay, as you said. It was interesting, the detail that you chose the smaller boy, Thor, to be ultimately the stronger character. It's his kind of his arc. He wet his bed, he was worried about his pubic hair, and at first look, he was the more feminine one. But he got the girl, and it was he who made the bigger journey. You told about the inspiration of the childhood. Is there any, what kind of parts from your childhood or your experiences or what you heard have you put into this film, or is it fictional altogether?
No, the foundation of the film is completely from my childhood and my own life, like my sisters and friends and family. But then as soon as you start writing, then the character starts to develop, and the story, it becomes a fictional story because you have to put the pieces kind of together. But a lot is taken from reality. And I think for me that's the nicest way to work. And maybe it's an easy way to work as well. It's when you write about something you know.
Was that also the tragic parts of it? Were they also from reality? Or something that you heard, or something that is in the atmosphere?
I had a few friends that took their lives as teenagers in Iceland, and that is a common thing in Iceland, especially in the smaller towns, that boys around teenage age take their own lives.
Okay, that was the next question, because that's a big problem also for young people, especially a male in Finland. So it's not always getting better, but let's hope that through this kind of film it will get better with more understanding. Okay, the genre or if it is a genre of growing up films, it never goes old. I'm an old guy, but I still like to see growing up films, because it's good to see, not only for nostalgic reasons, but because you see that some things never change, but they are in flux, developing, so that's very nice. What was for you, you chose this kind of a coming-of-age film for your first big screenplay, your first big film. Is it always so that your nearest experience, you have to get it out in your first film, or what was the inspiration?
For some reason, I tend to enjoy most these kind of films about young adults and teenagers.
Yeah.
And my favorite films are all in that category, like Stand By Me.
Oh God, yeah.
Sure. Kunskapens Tre.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
I interviewed the director Nils Malmqvist.
The amazing films.
Amazing.
Yeah. And so for some reason I intend just to connect more to those films.
Yeah.
And when I write, that's the stories that I find most interesting. But I think it's also because I think they mirror our grown-up lives. Because as a teenager, it's very clear when you see a teenager struggling with insecurity.
Yeah.
But as grown-ups, you're basically having the same problem, but it's just a different.
Sure.
Different version of it.
Yeah, and like Heartstone and stuff like there's I think there's the whole life in it.
Yeah.
As you said it, so they can be deep also in that way. And also of course the Finnish entry. What's it called in the Nordic Council? It's about a 12-year-old girl. So
I look forward to see that one.
It's a good one. Okay, then there was an interesting detail. I don't know, because when Christian was in the stable and he saw the tools, and there was also the pistol, but I didn't see it at first. And then there were the horses. I thought that now he's going to get a tool and blind the horses, like in Equus. Have you seen the Lumet's film Equus, based on the Schaffer play?
No.
Because it's kind of the same story, because there's a very troubled, the psychiatric doctor is played by Richard Burton, and he takes care of a young boy who's very complex problems, and he comes to the doctor because he has blinded horses, because the horses saw him in an act, in a sexual act with a girl. You maybe seen the play.
No.
They are the horses, but it's just that it, struck something. Oh God, ideas are, international. And the young actress, Baldur Einarsson, is it Blair Henriksson? Yeah. And also the girls were awesome, just fantastic personalities, and I googled up and I have seen that they have received prizes. No wonder. How did you find them? And how did you work with them to get them comfortable and trust you when it was the subject matter was so delicate in many ways?
It's we had an open casting and we got just a lot of kids, 1,000 kids came, and then we found these boys, and then the girl, we just found them all, and then we had almost 8 months kind of rehearsal, where just twice a week, 2 hours every time.
With the chosen ones.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And also the group, the bullies.
Everyone together. So it just became like a little theater group in a way.
Was it inside or in the places that you were going to shoot?
No, all just in it's almost just like an amateur theater group, and they didn't read the script until just 2 months before the shooting. But what we did tell them, all the elements that we thought could be taught already. So they knew that that they had to do this. And it was almost like training, like a football team. So when they finally got to the shooting, they were so mentally ready and excited to do this that they were like Baldur. He went over a cliff, like 200-meter cliff, and he was
tall.
Yeah. He was willing to just do whatever.
Wonder. Okay. When you had this kind of an approach, did you have to shoot the scenes many times, or was it easier to get, because they already knew the story? Did you get many retakes?
No, I think with kids, you always have to shoot a lot. You always have to take many takes, because they will have to feel comfortable, and they'll be easily distracted.
Because the camera also.
And then also just
and
then chatting and you're like, hey, we're gonna shoot it. Oh, I'm sorry. What are we gonna do now?
And laughing. true
So,
goal. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. But did you have in mind what kind of boy and two boys you were? Did you know that? Okay, this would be the smaller one would be
Yeah.
Thor, and the okay.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah.
But they, I mean, Christian or Lai, he really fitted his character from the beginning.
Yeah.
But Baldur is very different from Thor. Like those two characters are, they're extremely different. Okay. But I could see in Baldur that he had this kind of rage inside him, because he's a super sweet, super delicate boy. Yeah. But I could see that he could become that boy, and then we just worked towards that.
Yeah. That's interesting. And of course, the smaller kid who wets his bed gets a girl. It's very, reassuring for many children. Okay. Okay. So you said that there's not much competition between filmmaking people in Iceland. You support each other. But was there a lot of good films to choose from this year, or did you know that my film will straightly go into the competition? Well,
no, you never know.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, we're...
How many films per year do they?
I think we do maybe 6, 7, around that.
Like a film?
Yeah. But I mean, maybe fully funded, more like 4 or 5. Yeah, 5. And then we have some like lower budget films. Yeah. But you never know. Yeah, you never know. It's you're always crossing your fingers.
Sure. Yeah. You got did you get enough the budget enough for your film? How was it to make it? Did you didn't have to compromise in something because you didn't have money?
No, we got the money, and I'm also one of the producers, and I'm working with the producer I've been working with since we started. Yeah. We just started together. Yeah. So we put everything, like everything we put into this, and of course you always have to. You always want more money than but we had enough. We could make it.
Did you make any ready? You said that the screenplay was ready some years before. Did you develop it in between, and did it change? Did you make any radical changes in the last stages before the?
No, I went to France for a residency, Cannes have a director residency, and there I went to do the last kind of final draft of the film, and that helped a lot. But there was more to go, and I think I went closer to the first draft there. Then kind of rediscovered some of my material. Okay. But no, there was not many. Almost none radical.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice. Yeah. Is there a competition like Oscars at Finnish in Iceland that every year you get? Okay. What's that called? Okay. Nice. Yeah. But also you like to make a film for the young people, but there was also the balance with the parents, and it was very satisfying in this film that the grown-ups had their own stories, their own lives and their own passions, and that they weren't monsters. So that even Christian's father, he loves his son because he puts the gun away, and he's worried when he's on the cliff, and so how important was for you to get the grown-up characters right and feature in the story in balance with the kids who are in the spotlight?
For me, it was very important because I think the stories of the grown-ups, they deliver a lot into the stories with the kids. Yeah. So you understand the kids more, and you also understand why things are like they are, and maybe what interests me is this miscommunication between grown-ups and kids and how it affects each other. Yeah. So you are living in two separate worlds together. Yeah. And then so I think that's for me, I remember in the editing process we tried to to see if we wanted to try to shorten the film, take some of those side stories away, for example the grown-ups, but then for me the film just collapsed Yeah, it didn't have the substance that I wanted it to have.
Yeah. Let's hope that a lot of kids and grown-ups will see this film together, because it gives so much for both of audiences. And about the choosing of the grown-up actors, are they well known in Iceland who played them, and is it easy to find them, or do you have to, like in Finland, the best ones are always in the same films? If you get some fresh faces or non-actors playing?
No, for the grown-ups, they're all known actors. Yeah. But I mean, I was happy with them. I felt like
they were very good.
Yeah. They fitted very well, and they were also going a little bit away from characters they're normally playing. So yeah. So I don't think they're that. You wouldn't. It's not a typical role for them.
And of course, for us, for a Finn, to see that. Okay, the youngsters are of course fresh, but also because you don't know how well famous they are in their own country, they are also very much believable in them, and also of course good actors. Okay. For me, the core of the film. That's my last question. The core of the film was a thing that we rarely see. The thing that is unrequited love. I love you, that you don't love me back. And this is developed in the same sense that we think that at the end the Christian and Paul, they will be friends for a very long period of time. And you don't really see that. Usually, some tragic end. But this is the way Thor, develops, and he sees the fish at the end with the fish, where he was in the beginning of the film. What would you say was the core for you? What was the story?
For me, there are two cores. It's like the strong kind of love bond between those boys that is quite pure, even though Christian has some other feelings on top of it, but in the end it's always going to be this friendship that's the most important. And then it's self-acceptance. Because self-acceptance is something that all of the characters, even the mother and the sisters and the father, and everyone is dealing with that.
They are wiser at the end.
Like they're trying to accept themselves. Some do and some don't.
And of course, in the was it a summer or a year?
Like a summer over summer period.
So it seems like they had grown. Thor had grown up very much at the end.
He's losing a bit of his innocence.
But accepting and seeing the responsibility and seeing things more widely than before. Thank you for a very, very beautiful film. I hope you win the Heartstone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. They'll probably be doing a photograph of you, so that I'll get a new photo for the story or something.
We did some photos this morning.
Okay.
Nice to meet you. Yes, we had a bit delay.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry you guys been waiting. I was just brought here now.
I'm a bit worried, but I'm happy that you're here now. Okay, so tell me something about this movie and production. Is there some general stuff? About the idea, what is your long-term dream, or?
I was still in art school when I wrote the first draft of the script. And it's inspired by a period when I lived in a small town in Iceland, and kind of inspired from my own childhood, my friends and family, my sisters.
Oh, you have sisters.
Yeah.
You like a very realistic thing with sisters, because I think
so. I think it's a very good portrait of my sister.
It was proud, but loving.
It's a very fair portrait.
Okay. So how did you came up with these actors? Because they were so good and so young.
We had open casting in Iceland. We were not sure if we could find all these actors, but we got like 1,000 kids to come, and then we found these kids, and then we trained them almost for 8 months, like twice a week, 2 hours every time, and yeah, so we just kind of trained them into becoming good actors.
What was the age gap between Tor and Christian?
They're 1 year. There's 1 year.
Okay,
yeah.
just 1 year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it hard to direct them during the sexual
No,
things? So
no.
Okay.
That was surprisingly easy. I basically had explained to them, for example, when they're touching each other in the car, it's a game. And they just got it right away. They're like, yeah, no problem.
So they wasn't embarrassed at all.
No, but maybe also because we had dialogues. You know, we did discuss this thing, and and they were completely fine.
Okay,
Yeah,
even those masturbation scenes, because I think sometimes adult actors are really embarrassed. So it's very awesome if this.
Yeah, maybe I used to tell them like, oh, you know, this is how it is to be acting. Maybe it was just like, yeah, okay.
But it was really, really good acting.
Yeah.
Is there any questions from audience?
How long did the filming take?
We shot for about 8 weeks. Yeah. So it's a little bit more than normally, but we had like these young actors and animals and so on. So we kind of needed all the time. I would have liked to shoot longer, but I think 8 weeks was good.
Thank you so much for that. I think it's amazing. Thank you. So beautiful. But I'm still curious, how did you find the story? Is there any real background? Or
I mean, a lot of the story is, the broader story is fiction, you know, but then it's inspired from things that I know or friends and so on. But one of the things, for example, with Christian and the suicide thing, is that I had few friends that took their lives when they were teenagers, and that was one of the things why I've been interested, and I've dealt with this subject in a previous short film, is about suicide, because that is a common thing with young boys in small villages in Iceland.
Thank you very much for the great movie. And I was just thinking that even this is filmed in Iceland, I'm grown up in a small village in Finland, and it's very touching and similar things.
Me too. I would highly relate.
Which part of the Iceland this was filmed?
This is in the east of Iceland. It's in a small town called Borgarfjörður, and it's the first time film has been shot there. It's a very beautiful town, but they've never had accommodation for the whole crew, but they just opened a hotel. So we could host 40 people. Yeah. So that's why we shot there. But just one thing about the connection. Like I was in Israel in the desert, in a very small town there, and it was curious because the kids there really related to the film as well. And I think it is just every small town, no matter where you are in the world, they have these similarities.
It was actually a little bit scary because there were so many things that I have realized in my life.
I was wondering, during the casting process, what is it you're looking for in the children that you pick, and how do you what do you do with them to kind of find those things?
Yeah, it is this time because I've done short films before, and then I was more typecasting. But then during my short films, I realized that when I typecast, then I could find a perfect character, but he would only last for 5-6 days, and then I could just feel that this kid would not be able to handle more shooting days, because it would just be too boring for them or just too tough. So now I was really looking for just kids with a lot of ambition, and that they could kind of open up and kind of almost be naked in front of you, like, you know, kind of open up and not be afraid that you would judge them. So these were the two elements that I was kind of seeking with these kids. And then afterwards I found out that I picked kids, and all of these kids are really good in sports. So they're like in sports, and they're like one of the, you know, the better ones in their sport. And maybe that's something about their ambition of that they're really willing to push themselves, you know, to the limits and kind of set goals and work those goals. So now I think that's kind of the most, that, and be willing to open up and not be too afraid to be a judge. Yeah.
How about the Christian? Do you think he is gay, or does it even matter?
In the film?
Yeah.
In the film, yeah. In the story, he is, and he's kind of discovering it. He never really, you know, for me in the story, he doesn't really come to peace with it, but the film ends with us kind of knowing that he will come to peace with it. But the main theme of the film is the friendship between the two boys and self-acceptance that Christian is dealing with, but all the other characters are dealing with different types of self-acceptance. Even the mother, she's like fighting for her rights to be like she wants to be.
I was wondering, during the 8-month training process with the children, would you focus on just training them as actors and not going to the script so much, or at what point did you at all practice the scenes, or did you leave that for the shooting?
No, we did mostly acting, just general acting, meditation. I set them all kind of rules about like sugar and diet and stuff like that, because when they started, they had like severe degree of attention disorder. Like all of them, they were like, you know, so we like cut out sugar, put them on a good diet, and we could just find and teach them kind of meditate and all of this kind of stuff, just to kind of get them grounded and be able to be in the moment and listen for a while. And we only had one rule, that was to say, they were never allowed to say, I can't do it. So, you know, they always had to try, and I was always happy no matter what they did, except when they said I can't do it, then I got mad. And so then they kind of learned quickly, like, you know, as long as they try, and they were also forced to be friends. So I told them very clearly that if I hear someone says something about the other kid that he doesn't like him, then that kid will be fired. That doesn't like him. So they were really focused on, okay, we have to be a group. We have to all like each other. And I think, you know, that kind of things helped a lot.
Did you use that trick on the cliff?
No,
how did you see that? When they were so close to it? And
the cliff, that was the idea of the cinematographer.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Not of course, but you know, the angles and stuff.
Yeah, because we didn't have money to do like a proper CGI, and then the cinematographer was afraid it would look awful, so he suggested we just go over the cliff. And
of course they could do it.
And then I asked the butler and the main actor who did it, and he was afraid, but he was really excited, mostly because I accepted that he was allowed to take a selfie. He was on the camera. That was really his carrot. He was like, okay, I can show the kids that I really did this. Like, to show his friends in school. So that, yeah. But I think that was the most awful shooting thing I've ever experienced. Big, yeah.
look so realistic, so I thought that they need to be very near the cliff and
yeah, they were just
very near the
they were
edge and
just on the cliff.
yeah.
And but we had guys who do Games of Thrones, like all that stuff is there. So we had really good technical crew. So they told us it's completely safe. But even though, you know, it just it felt kind of yeah. I mean, I haven't.
More questions. I was just wondering because they're still kids and of course they have a deep emotional life. But did you what were your feelings of how much you felt that you could push them into emotions like that and when to pull them out so you know so that they don't get caught or what was your process there?
That's a difficult question because I had an assistant with me. And her role was to make sure that they would not, you know, that they, you know, she could hug them and make them feel good afterward, and make sure that they could emotionally deal with what was going on. And then, of course, I push them as much as I can. Yeah, basically, yeah. So I just push them, and I just, you know, and if I would have, I never experienced a moment where I felt they couldn't handle it. You know, but of course they experienced that a lot. But I knew, you know, that they could handle it, and we discussed that. But maybe I'm brought up maybe by that as well, a little bit from my mother and parents that I'm pushed. So yeah, so I thought it was fine. It's fine to push kids and make them feel that they can handle more than they think they can. But of course, they were always allowed to say no. You know, so they also knew that they had the final say. And yeah, I mean it's because I think the main character, I pushed him a lot, but within his limits. And he's a happy boy too. No.
Okay, still acting.
Yeah, he's still. That's a good. They all want to be actors. They're really proud and happy about what they did. Yeah, but they also had, which was very important, is that they had good support from their parents. So so the parents they had this role of being the supportive ones and this my assistant. So so they never came up to where I felt like I was pushing them too much.
Yes, I wanted to thank you.
Hey, hello.
Actually, we have met before, so thank you for the amazing film, and wow, it was quite a film. So I wanted to ask if in which time you set the film, like is it 80s or 90s? I think it's before smartphones.
It's before smartphones.
Yeah.
It's kind of in beginning of 2000 something.
Okay.
So that was our only rule was that nothing older than 2005 and nothing nothing. So that was kind of our limit with music and.
Yeah.
But we were hoping that people would not think too much about
the time. Yeah, because there is this timeless sense, like, and also sense of nostalgia, like somehow even for 70s or I don't know.
Hey, I don't know too much about the film industry in Iceland, so how would you describe it? Does the film industry or the arts in general, do they get like support from the government, or is it difficult to make art?
I think it's very similar. The Scandinavian model is also here in Finland, that we get governmental support, and we have a very healthy film industry. But most of that is also because we have a lot of Hollywood films being shot in Iceland. So we do a lot of service thing. So which is a good thing, because then when we shoot the Icelandic film, then our crew is quite happy. They almost feel like a vacation you know, to go and shoot an Icelandic film and stop on Games of Thrones. So but we have a good industry.
How long process was it to get funding for this?
Because it's a difficult because I wrote the first draft 10 years ago. Then I realized I needed to do short films before anyone would trust me. And then I started that process. And then after I did my kind of short films, then it happened quite quickly. But it took a long time to do those short films.
Did you rewrite the script?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, a little bit for questions.
No.
So the idea was good from the beginning.
I mean, it was kind of set, and then I just worked toward that. I'm quite lazy in that sense that I don't start working on anything unless if I really like it.
Okay. How much your own experience was inside that movie? Something more than your sisters?
We killed at this moment with the fishes. That's what really like vivid in my mind still, because it felt like we were striking gold.
Okay.
And then me bringing it home to my mother, and she thought I had stolen it. And roughing it. My sister picking on me.
How about the sleepover inside the girl's house?
And no. But I had this moment. I can tell you for that, but it's not funny. I can tell you where that idea came from. It was probably I was like 9 or something, and we were sleeping at this house, and I was sleeping on a bed, and my sister was sleeping on a this thing like on the floor, and then somehow in the night I had fallen off. And on the ground next to my sister, and then I woke up and I had feet to the bed, and she was lying in it. And then I was like, I was sneaking out. I went like back into my bed and fell asleep. And then she woke up and she was like 13, and she was like devastated. One day she was trying to get me to,
Still your topic during the Christmas Eve.
No, but she remembered that when she saw the film.
How about I actually have one question about the animals, because I'm from countryside, so I know about fishing and stuff, but it was a bit rough. So were you actually shooting? It looks realistic with the fishes. So when they are
in Iceland, it's a fishing country, and it's so we grow up fishing and killing fishes, and that. So we just made the rule we just have to eat them after the shooting day.
Yeah. So that was okay for boys. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought so.
Yeah.
It was a bit graphic, but I have been seeing fishing.
I mean, some of it is of course done with how we shoot it, and they're not really static on it. But when they're like cut, like killing the fishes, they are killing it. Yeah.
Quite normal.
Yeah. But we didn't shoot the sheep.
Yeah.
that was thing myself.
Yeah. Any more questions?
I mean, I don't know. I completely respect people having different feeling about animals. And for me, I think it's not just about to kill an animal for a film. Like, I don't think it's just about, but for fishes, for some reason I have a different idea about fishes. But I remember, I read this, I got this long email from a girl who was really upset. And she told me that she was on a date. She was a foreigner. And she was on a date with an Icelandic guy and went to my film, and then she was watching this, and she wanted both to ask me if this was real and kind of condemn me if it was, but also thank me because the guy, the Icelander, he was just sitting there laughing and not really, you know, wasn't affected at all. And then she realized that this guy was not for her. She was telling the story. The first time I ever said it. I told my producer.
I found that this has a special meaning in the movie because the movie ends with a fish.
Yeah.
So what kind of metaphor? So I said that ending fish. That was the fish dying when it was diving down? Or?
No, it's swimming away.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a happy ending. No, yeah, it's hope. I mean, for me, I wanted the film to end with hope. Yeah. And you have the feeling that Kristen is going to be fine, and Thor is also going to get over it.
Yeah.
I have a very boring question about marketing of the film. I think this film is for everyone, definitely, but how did you market the film in Iceland? Is it marketed as a film for teenagers or adults or for everyone?
It's we had kind of two marketing things going on. Well, one was the main marketing from the cinema, and that was for adults, kind of cinema lovers. And then we did ourselves kind of more on social media towards teenagers. And the thing was that it became a hit with teenagers in Iceland. It actually became a dating film. Like 13-year-old boys or 14 were taking their wannabe girlfriends to see the film. And I think almost all the young generation now in Iceland has seen it, and there was a huge hit there. But we kind of missed the older generation, so they didn't come so much to see the film. So now we're hoping now in DVD that they will come. Yeah. Yeah, but generally around the world, then it's art house. Yes, like more grown-ups. Yeah.
I think our time is running out soon. No need to be. Is there any final questions? Okay.
How did you decide the title Heartstone?
It just a word that came to me, and I liked it. And then I didn't really know why. And then I kind of started thinking, and I think it has the two elements that are very strong in the film, and that's kind of the roughness and the warmth. So it's I think it's a good metaphor.
Thank you so much for your movie.